I clearly cut all my hair off because everyone was sick of dealing with it. This is When Harry Met Sally in 1989. This was just the costume designer's idea of like New York in the 80s. I think my favorite is whatever the librarian look is with the bow tie. It's fantastic. I remember that the hair from their college days had said to Rob, there was a time when I used to take the curling iron and just like put it on one side and let it bake there for a while, and then do the same over here and aquanet it. I looked like that in high school.
How many of those were wigs versus your actual hair?
Let me tell you something. I think they were all my hair.
The iconic deli scene?
Yes! 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 Oh! Oh!
I didn't come up with the whole scene. The scene was in the script, but there were variations on how it was originally scripted and then what we ended up with. But no way did I come up with that line that Billy said. It was just too funny.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Sleepless in Seattle. It was a movie about love in the movies than love itself. It was an homage to love in the movies.
Are you in love with him?
I'm not now.
Now, those were the days when people knew how to be in love.
This, I think, was Nora Ephron's idea of like the journalist. So this, I think, was her idea, and I think kind of Nora might have dressed a little bit like this. You know, with the big shoulders and some of these colors. I still have, there's a coat in that movie that I actually gave to the Academy last year. Yeah, that I kept, but then I gave it away. Judy Ruskin, she designed that coat. I don't know based on what, but probably some film from the 40s that she and Nora loved. There's a whole last part of the thing where she's like running to the Empire State Building, and they had like this dolly track set up and all of that, like, you know, all kinds of apparatus set up, and the shoes were either too tight, no, they were too big, and it was like kind of flip-flopping down the street. Her hair and makeup for this, I think they were just trying to figure out what to do with all my hair. And they came up with various braids.
This was the second time that you worked with Tom Hanks. What was that like for you?
This is one where we were barely ever around each other, actually, because he was shooting in Seattle and I was shooting in Baltimore. So we had a couple of times where we were on the same set, but rarely, actually.
It's you.
It's me. You've got mail. I clearly cut all my hair off because everyone was sick of dealing with it. So much of this stuff is very reactive, you know, like, I don't know that it was like super intentional. I think I had done a movie just before this where I had super bleached hair and like it was trimming that off, and so it ended up being short like this. And then I was stuck in this kind of cycle of short hair for a long time, and I didn't really like wearing wigs. I think it was so Nora's vision. You know, I think she wanted Kathleen to look kind of classic and undated. She's got a small bookstore. Big chains were taking over these little mom and pop bookstores, and she was like regretting that because I think she felt like New York was really a series of small towns, which is true actually if you live there. And the fact that these little places were going away, she, you know, felt sad and felt that that was a little bit tragic. And then I always wonder what she would have done later with this, like after, you know, Barnes and Noble got sort of eaten up by Amazon, right? So, interesting. Joe Versus the Volcano, 1990, and I played 3 different characters who, according to John Shanley, who was the director and the writer, they were basically 3 different aspects of womanhood. Almost like a prepubescent, which is Dee Dee, and then like a teenager self, Angelica, the poet, who is clearly trying on personalities. The last one is Patricia, who sort of all of them, looks the most comfortable in her skin. They all had different voices, they all had different looks, and they were, you know, John is a Jungian, so a lot of the preparation on my part for that movie was trying to understand what that even meant. You could be different aspects of the female archetype. Colleen Atwood, it's just, I'm glad you chose this because I feel like Colleen is one of these artists with a giant imagination, and this was a chance to have the resources at her disposal to express herself very fully. And I mean, the entire movie is a really imaginative and it's true magical reality, and she grounds it as well. I don't know how many Oscars she has by now, but probably definitely deserves every one of them. My favorite line in that movie is that the middle one, like the teenage sort of adolescent one, like Tom, I think, talks to her, and she says things like, I have no response to that.
I have no response to that.
This is French Kiss, 1995. I had a blast doing this movie. We shot the whole thing in France, very top drawer. Larry Kasdan directed it. It was, I mean, just fun on so many levels, but I remember like a week we had to shut down and rewrite the end, which was fine to do in France because I think they put the entire crew up off season at the Hotel du Cap, which was crazy. This is another example of not being able to grow my hair out. The short hair, I just loved it for this person. This is somebody who like she was not on the run, she was like sort of on the go. She was like living out of her purse or something. She had like obviously one shower. And that's where I have this amazing who's that designer who did that dress? Hervé Leger. Yeah, this incredible dress that I showered for. But I remember going to that atelier to try it on and have all these fittings. I'd never done that before. It was great. It was just really fun. My son also was really little then, and there's this scene where I'm covered in cake, and he just thought that was the best thing that ever happened to him, or to me. Just had a blast. He was there that day. Addicted to Love. Oh, I'm still stuck with the short hair. So I guess I was like working a lot right then. I love this look for this, like this is a nut of a character. She's like a vigilante or something. She's a photographer and she's like obsessed with her ex-boyfriend. And Griffin Dunn directed this and I loved every single thing I wore in this film. It was just so fun. And she was just an exaggerated like downtown kind of Soho character, like after hours kind of character. I think that Renee just had pure freedom and like, because that's downtown, that's New York, you know, wear what you want and figure it out. And I wore a boa, who does that? So I love that. And then she has this like striped tank top and then like more velvet coats. Oh, I do remember I got this coat, this like, it wasn't leather, it was a vinyl, short, tight, not quite a motorcycle jacket, but kind of with fake fur. And I wore that every day for like 5 years after this movie.
You do more smoky. I feel like this is kind of your look and you guys are really
Yeah, Lutz Weissman did that, and he was new to film, and he was from fashion, so it was fun to have Sally and Lutz on that movie. To shoot in New York is the greatest, and then to shoot downtown with Griffin, it was all fun. It never seemed like work, this particular film. Proof of life. This movie was like, this character I think was spending all this time in South America. And so the costume designer, Ruth Myers, who I really liked and admired, she's amazing. She just kept finding pieces that we could kind of justify this character's kind of assuming some of the environment that she's around, that she's been in. You know, she started out as a sort of country club lady, a kind of like conservative person, but she's like now living most of her life in South America. So that's why these sarongs and t-shirts and kind of things that look like she could have found them in a thrift store. We shot at like 12,000 feet. So it was something to have to acclimate to that. There's very little oxygen up there. So once you're there for a while, you're okay. You know, you're after about like a week, but you take your time because it strains the body and you don't come and go. You basically stay up there. The hair and the makeup. Again, I think it was just supposed to look like undone. You know, not trying too hard, which of course takes a ton of work. What happens? Oh, we're already to 2023. I took a big break, grew my hair, and have one outfit in What Happens Later. And this idea came to me that both, you know, there's only two characters in the film, and only two people talk in the film, and they're ex-lovers who see each other 25 years later. And of all the people in the airport, they're basically dressed alike. They have the same name. They call each other like, she's like Willa Davis and he's William Davis.
Hello, Wilhelmina.
Hello, William. And there's sort of these, I imagine them as sort of like two halves of a whole, like a yin-yang, kind of like a black and white symbol that's always trying to find, which they never do, find some sort of balance and equanimity. And what I love too is that as they go through the movie, they sort of like shed this like he sheds his black jacket, she sheds her long black coat, and they just look like more and more innocent and almost like they're in their pajamas by the end. That was very deliberate on our part to have it be a transition like that. I haven't really directed, I mean, I was in a movie that I had a small part, in a movie I directed before this. And this was, I realized that we were really lucky because it was just a teeny movie, a $3 million movie, which means that we didn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that you have on other films. Like, we didn't get to watch playback. So only footage I saw was by the time we got to the editing room. So I'm happy about that because I think that the performances are really unself-conscious and we were really free. And we shot all night long for like 21 days and just felt like being in a little bit of a bubble. And it works for the intimacy of the romance, I think.
And what made you decide on David to come here?
It has rom-com elements that I love, but it's a love story. And I think what I ended up loving the most about it is that it isn't what you think. That it has some deeper pings, makes some pretty modern day observations about love and forgiveness, and it somehow is a love story rom-com it's like a delivery system for some more profound ideas that hopefully don't feel like medicine going down.
How was it walking in?
I have to say it's a new experience. It's strange to see, like I have a lot of hair to account for. Thank you.
That's a wrap on.
Thanks you guys. Thank you for listening to all of this.